Hi everyone, it's Michelle Greger, San Jose City College for Spring 2020 Sculpture 40 and 42. From the studio today, I'm going to mass up the human head. You did the preparatory drawings, and this is what they're all for. We're going to start working with clay today. Here you can see I have an armature. It's a simple pipe armature. It's got a little flange, the pipe's screwed into it. I'm going to use this to hold my clay. It's not absolutely necessary, but it makes it a lot easier. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put this big hunk of clay over, and later on we'll be using this to sculpt in the shoulders. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 25 pounds of clay, and I'm going to take about 3/4 of the bag, and I'm going to make it into the shape to start the head. Big chunk of clay here. I can pat this into shape. I like to use the palm of my hand and turn it and form it into the shape of an avocado or an egg. It's going to take me a little while. I've already prepared one, which is right here. And so this is my first step. So I want a shape that's something like this. I would compare it to a very large egg. The second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a chunk of clay from the remainder of my clay, and we're going to be using that to create the back of the head. A nice big chunk of clay here, and I really like this to stay square. I'm going to flatten it out by pounding it on my table. So it's roughly sort of like a brick. The next part is going to be the neck. I'm going to take this neck section and I'm going to roll this into a cylindrical form. And this will serve as the neck. So I'm going to start with these basic forms. The first thing I'll do is I'll slide the neck onto the armature. Now later on we're going to look at the neck. It's not just straight up and down on the shoulders. It actually goes forward a little bit. But for the time being, we're going to keep it pretty centralized onto the big block. The next thing I'm going to do is I'll just take a little bit of cutaway here, and that will let me make my egg shape and sit it onto the neck. Finished. Just kidding. We have a long way to go. Okay, so I'm going to carefully join these parts. The first thing you might notice is the thickness of the neck. I've got a pretty big chunk of clay here, and I want you to notice that the neck is really just about the same width as the head. A lot of little kids will draw drawings, and they'll make the head like a stem of a daisy, and that's inaccurate. We need a nice sturdy foundation to hold up the head, which is going to be the neck. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to join it by pushing the clay upward and joining the clay all together. So what I'm doing here is I'm building solid, which is a method of sculpting where eventually I'm going to have to cut this open and hollow it out. It's a wonderful method to use. It gives you a lot of freedom. You can press the clay, push the clay around, and it gives you a lot more solidity than building with coil. Another thing I'd like to mention is you notice I'm not slipping and scoring, which is something that we're all taught to do in ceramics class. The reason I'm not slipping and scoring is because my clay is quite wet. I'm really going to be moving it and joining it with a lot of force. And later on I'm going to be slicing this and hollowing it, which is going to give me another chance to make sure that all of my joints are really strong. You can always take the opportunity to score if you want to. It's insurance, so go ahead and do it. But for this demo, I'm just going to use the force of my hands to join the clay. I have this block left over, and you might wonder what this is for. This is going to be the back of the head. And so I'm going to take this block and I'm going to set it quite high up here. It looks a little odd now. Let me join it up. And this is going to give you the mass for the back of the head. And so first of all, I've got this, the forms, and now I'm ready to start smoothing and shaping them. I want you to refer to those skull drawings that we talked about last time, and really pay particular attention to the top of the head, the form of it. You can see I'm kind of patting this into place. I'm joining the clay. So even if you can sculpt a beautiful nose or a beautiful mouth, and if you put it on a form that's it doesn't have accurate proportions, it's going to look strange. So really pay attention to your primary forms first. Start thinking like a sculptor. The top of the head is as important as the front of the head. The back of the head is as important as the front of the head. And so you can see I'm running my rib across the top, creating that beautiful curve. I'm going to do the same with the front and the back. And it's going to take me a little while to get this into the shape that I'm looking for. So I can see what I have here is the back of my skull is a little bit too long. And I can also see that I'm really missing a chin. And so I always take a ball of clay and I'll add it here. I'm looking at the side view to build up the chin. I'm going to make some marks with my thumb to sort of show you where the jawline is going to be. You see that there? I think it's important to have reference photos, especially in the beginning, so that you can look at them as you're sculpting. And the next step I'm going to do is I'm going to put a line right down the center of the face. With my rib, I could use a pencil, any kind of tool, you can see there. And that's going to sort of help me ascertain if the sides are equal. You can see the back is a little bit higher than the chin. I want to make sure that the back of the skull is a little bit wider in the back, a little bit narrower in the front. And you'll notice when I'm sculpting, I'm looking from the side view. I'm not looking at the front. I want to make sure I pay particular attention to the profile. So once I have the rough primary forms all mapped out, I'll be ready to add the secondary forms, which are the features. I'm pretty happy with this. I'm going to go a little bit further with getting the piece exactly how I want it. And in our next video, we're going to take a real close look at where the eyes lay, the ears, the mouth, and the nose. I'm really excited to get back to work at the lab. I hope you guys are all doing really well at home, staying safe and sound. Don't forget, wash your hands. I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.